The laughter echoed louder than the music. It wasn't the kind of laughter that celebrates love. It was sharp. Cruel. The kind that slices through a person's dignity in front of 100 glittering witnesses. Under the golden chandeliers of the grand ballroom, where crystal glasses shimmered and silk gowns swept across polished marble floors, they mocked the scarred CEO's daughter as if her pain were tonight's entertainment. Before we step into what happened next, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in standing up for someone when the world turns its back on them. Stories like this deserve to be heard. Her name was Amelia Laurent, daughter of billionaire tech magnate Victor Laurent. To the world, she was privilege wrapped in elegance. But tonight, as she stood in her ivory gown beneath the dazzling lights, she felt like a frightened child again. A faint scar traced her left cheek, pale against her flawless skin. It wasn't large, but it was enough. Enough for whispers. Enough for stares. Enough for people to think they had permission to judge. The scar came from a car accident 5 years ago, the same accident that took her mother's life. Amelia had survived, but survival came with a mark she carried not just on her face, but deep in her heart. Since that night, every mirror had become an enemy. Every social event felt like a battlefield. Tonight was supposed to be different. It was her father's charity gala, an event attended by the city's elite. Amelia had prepared herself carefully, breathing through the anxiety, telling herself she was strong. She had practiced her smile, rehearsed her composure, chosen a dress that made her feel powerful instead of fragile. But power is fragile when surrounded by cruelty. It began with whispers near the champagne table. A woman in a red gown leaned toward her companion, eyes fixed on Amelia's cheek. A man muttered something about, "How unfortunate," and, "With all that money, can't they fix it?" The words traveled like poison in the air. Some laughed openly. Others covered their smirks behind crystal glasses. Amelia tried to ignore it. She had learned to pretend she didn't hear. But humiliation has weight. It presses against the chest until breathing feels like drowning. Her hands trembled. Her heart pounded. She felt every eye in the room magnify her scar until it was the only thing she believed they could see. Then someone went too far. A careless voice, louder than intended, joked that beauty can't be bought after all. The laughter that followed felt like thunder cracking directly above her. And that was the moment everything changed. Among the servers weaving quietly between tables was Daniel Reyes, a single father who worked double shifts to provide for his 7-year-old son. He wore a simple black vest and white shirt, his posture straight despite the exhaustion that lived in his bones. Daniel had noticed the whispers. He had seen the way Amelia's shoulders tightened. He had recognized that look in her eyes, the same one he saw in his son's face when classmates teased him for wearing second-hand shoes. There are moments in life when you either look away or step forward. Daniel set his tray down. Without seeking permission from status or society, without calculating consequences, he walked straight across the ballroom floor. Conversations quieted as guests watched a waiter approach the billionaire's daughter. Some expected him to escort her out, to manage the embarrassment discreetly. But Daniel did something no one anticipated. He gently took her trembling hand. The gesture was simple. No grand speech. No dramatic confrontation. Just warmth, human, steady, unashamed warmth. His grip was firm, grounding her in a storm of judgment. In that single touch, Amelia felt something shift. Not pity. Not obligation. Respect. Daniel looked at her the way no one else in the room did, as if the scar were invisible, as if she were more than the whispers surrounding her. The room grew silent, stunned by the audacity of a waiter standing beside the CEO's daughter as though they were equals. Victor Laurent noticed too. At first, his expression hardened. Years of protecting his daughter had made him cautious. But as he observed Amelia's posture slowly straighten, as he saw color return to her face, something softened in him. Daniel didn't say much. He simply guided her toward the center of the ballroom, away from the poison at the edges. The orchestra, uncertain, faltered. Then Daniel did something braver than confronting the crowd. He bowed slightly and invited her to dance. Gasps rippled across the room. The daughter of a billionaire, dancing with a waiter? Amelia hesitated for a heartbeat. Then she nodded. As they moved together beneath the chandeliers, something extraordinary happened. The whispers died. The mocking smiles faded. What began as scandal turned into stillness. Daniel wasn't dancing to impress anyone. He wasn't trying to prove a point. He moved with quiet confidence, focused only on ensuring Amelia felt safe. For the first time that night, Amelia forgot about her scar. She forgot about the laughter. She remembered what it felt like to simply exist without apology. The music swelled, and so did the shift in the room's energy. Guests began to see what they had failed to notice before: her grace, her strength, the way her eyes held both sorrow and resilience. The scar that had been their source of entertainment became a symbol of survival. Victor Laurent stepped forward when the dance ended. The tension was thick. He approached Daniel slowly, the entire ballroom holding its breath. Instead of anger, Victor extended his hand. In a voice steady but emotional, he thanked Daniel for reminding everyone what true dignity looks like. That night did more than silence cruelty. It revealed it. Photos of the dance spread across social media. Headlines shifted from mocking commentary to praise for the waiter who showed the elite how to be human. Daniel never sought attention, but the story traveled anyway. People were moved by the simplicity of his act. Amelia's life changed too. For years she had hidden behind carefully curated appearances, avoiding public scrutiny. But after that night, she began speaking openly about surviving trauma, about learning to love the face that carried her story. She partnered with burn survivors and accident victims, creating initiatives that focused on self-acceptance instead of cosmetic perfection. Daniel continued working, though opportunities began to open for him. Victor offered him a management position within the company's hospitality division, not as charity, but as recognition of character. Daniel accepted, not for prestige, but for stability for his son. And Amelia? She found herself returning to that moment on the ballroom floor whenever doubt crept in. The moment a stranger chose kindness over comfort. Cruelty thrives in silence. But courage only needs one step forward. If this story touched your heart, please take a second to like, share, and comment. Your support helps spread stories that remind us what humanity looks like. Before we close, I have a special request. Comment the word kindness if you believe one small act can change someone's entire life. Because sometimes, the most powerful person in the room isn't the one with the title, the wealth, or the flawless appearance. Sometimes, it's the single dad in a waiter's uniform who decides that dignity matters more than status. And sometimes, all it takes to silence a room full of mockery is one steady hand reaching out in the dark.